That's why so many AAA games seem to struggle. They're aiming for a market without considering the player on a personal basis. It's really complicated. AAA is so complicated. I like more and more every day can't wait until I'm less NDA'd so I can talk about it more openly. But like when you're making a AAA game, people have this perception that it's like soulless corporate garbage. It's not. The people who are writing those games really care about doing that job and care about what they're doing. It's just that you then have to work with 10 other departments who might disagree with you or have different things, or there are budget constraints, or there are time constraints. So like something gets cut and then everything has to shift last minute constantly though. Like everything that you've poured your soul into dies at some point. It's dead. And you're like, well, fuck, okay, that's all been cut. We have to redo this whole fucking thing. And that happens over and over and over and over and over again because there's just so many people. And I think that's the more complicated part of making AAA. It's just so huge, so many people, such big budgets. I less think the corporate side of it because, I mean, again, I have to be careful, but in my direct experience and the experience of the people that I know, couldn't say this for all studios. I don't imagine it's the case with like a Call of Duty, but publishers go sick. Like they see what you're working on and they go, great, when's it coming out? All right, awesome. Love that. There would only be questions if you were doing something like vastly different to things that you've done before. No one at Bethesda, or I guess Microsoft, is going to Bethesda and going, can you do this in this new Fallout? In terms of the creative vision, I mean, of course, the team who made Dragon's Dogma did not choose to have microtransactions. That part does come from corporate, of course, but like creatively, very little. I guess I've heard some publishers, like I've heard of Epic arguing with devs on games that they've published about particular things. Man, I always wish that I could talk about the specifics of those things because it's fucking crazy. The Epic arguments made me use Epic less, the stuff that I've heard, but I don't want to out anyone. Like I genuinely don't use that store as much. But they will argue for it, but they won't win. Like they'll give up. They'll be like, okay, we set our piece. All right, fair enough. I feel like this is mostly capitalism now. It compromises artistic vision across all creative industries. I mean, yeah, like 100%. It becomes a product rather than just art. But I do maintain that the people making AAA games have been painted to be corporate themselves, and they aren't. They are passionate and in a lot of cases hate their publishers, but like have to do what they're told because that's how salaries work. Yeah, they're still just creatives because this is like a thing that I say all the time. If you work in video games with whatever skill set that you have that applies to video games, you only do it because you love video games. Think about programmers, engineers, artists across the board. You make so much more money in any other industry, I suppose, like even the other creative industries, the other entertainment mediums. You only fucking make video games if you love video games. So it's like, yeah, the people who are making AAA games aren't soulless corpo shills. They work under a corporation, but they aren't the corporation. The studios themselves are not corporate. They just are owned by corporate. And yes, that has an impact, but I don't think it's the impact that I feel like I see a lot of people online inferring or assuming. Yeah, sounds like some communist bullshit to me. Personally going to try and keep my video game playing to indies for a while. AAA is not going in a direction I feel it's all corporate greed. I really do feel for the devs that have to deal with it. Yeah, I mean, I barely play AAA games anymore. There are some that I will. Obviously, we're going to play Ghost of Yotei today. That's what the people voted on. Hashtag democracy. I will play Saros, obviously. A lot of Nintendo games that I still play, but like majority of the time, I pretty much just play indie. And I don't think that that is because the devs are corporate, is basically my point. It's like these people are just doing their best to make art under circumstances that are not compatible with being an auteur. That's my case in point there. They're doing their damn best though. They really are trying. They really do care. And like it's part of why it's like infuriating to see people be like, you get your agenda out of my video game. When no fucking video game other than like Disco Elysium pushes any fucking agenda that strongly. BioShock, Metal Gear Solid, I guess. Like the recent ones aren't doing it that much, but it's like, well, at least let these people try and say something. You don't have to like the thing, don't play the game, but like at least let them try to be human. Disco Elysium is one of the best games ever made in my opinion. That's one of the goats. I will play Gears E-Day, yeah. Yeah. Even Saris I wouldn't consider AAA. I would, but lightly. I mean, it's a PlayStation first party game, so it is. But I suppose their team is small. I was talking to, I think maybe Mike about this recently, about how I think that instead of being published, which is like how we traditionally refer to AAA, AA, indie, it would make more sense if we went by team size. If we like figured out brackets for team size, like 150 plus people is a AAA game. This is, I'm not thinking, I haven't thought this through. This is just an example. Under 50 can still be an indie game. Like something like that. You know what I mean? Like a system where we can agree based on team size, because team size is really budget size too. You know, what's included on team? Contractors? Yeah, contractors would be included. Even outsourcing partners would be included. Like the amount of people who work on a game, which I think like would kick Expedition 33 into the AA category, which I think is fair. It's not an indie game. It's a AA game based on team size, which feels more fair to me than publisher. This doesn't really make sense anymore. Housemarque isn't a huge team. No, I think it's quite a small team. I went to their old office. I haven't been to their new one. I figure I probably will if they have like a Saris launch party or something, but it is not a big office. Cool though, very cool. Figured indie simply means without a third-party publisher. That doesn't work anymore though, because indie games have publishers. Like Animal Well, it's published by Donkey, or whatever his Big Mode, whatever his studio, his publishing house is called. Does that mean it's not an indie game? I'd argue it still is. Hollow Knight does not have a publisher, but they don't need it. They can self-publish because they have so much fucking money. Like they're basically just loaded. Like I think you can have a publisher and still be an indie game. Like Steve is being made by one person and two of her friends. You could technically do it the other way around. It just wouldn't be me. I would say it's like it's being made by Josh and two of his friends. Like that's kind of how it worked. So yeah, one person and two of their friends. AA is kind of an underused term. Seems most people say either indie or AAA. Yeah, and there should be middle. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?